Raptors fans, the day of reckoning has arrived as the team has made their final roster cut in waiving Ishamil Wainright. So in today's video, we look at if the Raptors have made yet another offseason mistake. Let's get into it. Welcome NBA and Raptors fans. This is Amateur Sports, your source for everything Raptors, from Raptors news, mock trades, breakdowns, and so much more. So if you like the Raptors and you enjoy videos in this sort of content style, make sure you are subscribed to this channel for the 4+ videos that we are putting out a week, and you can help us on our road to 7,000 subscribers. We're getting there. We're going to hit it very soon, but you can expedite that process. But today we're going to be looking into the final roster cut that the Raptors have made. They have made the final decision to cut Ishamil Wainright from the roster, which has made a lot of Raptors fans upset because Wainright quickly grew into a little bit of a fan favorite over the course of the offseason. But the Raptors decided instead to keep Sam Dekker, Isaac Bonga, and Yuta Watanabe. And cutting Wainright, well, it comes with a little bit of a price because he was guaranteed some money, $250,000 for this season and $125,000 for next season. So in the grand scheme for an NBA team, it's not that much, but I guess it is something worth noting. But there were 4 players in a position where they may not have made the roster, and those 4 players were Yuta Watanabe, Isaac Bonga, I'm told that's how it's pronounced now, Sam Dekker, and Ishamil Wainright. Those 4 were fighting for 3 roster spots. Yuta Watanabe, truthfully, wasn't really fighting for a spot. Nick Nurse loves him, and he had played very well. It wasn't really anywhere near getting cut there. But the fringe guys, Isaac Bonga, Sam Dekker, and Ishamil Wainright, they were fighting for those 2 positions. As it comes to Isaac Bonga, I feel like starting that final preseason game, and just because he's 21 years old and has some playmaking potential, that locked him into a position on this roster. And I feel like even though some people didn't agree, that's the way the Raptors were going to go. He was by far the youngest out of the 3 remaining players. Bonga, I think, was, pretty much on the roster. So the decision came down to Sam Dekker versus Ishamil Wainright. And this is where the Raptors did not want to repeat the big mistake they made just a year ago in the same position, because near the final roster cuts, they decided to cut Oshae Brissett. And, at the time, I supported the decision, and I think a lot of other people did as well. But as it turned out, it was a mistake because Oshae Brissett eventually landed with the Indiana Pacers, where he put together a very good season. In fact, he ended the season on fire as one of the best scorers on that Indiana Pacers team. So the Raptors this season, they do not want to make a mistake like that. They do not want a repeat of that era because you lost a really good player in that situation. And it seemed like the Raptors basically had already made up their mind before that Washington Wizards game. It seemed like Wainright was commonly known to be the guy that the Raptors were going to go with. Bonga, there wasn't much of a debate. Again, it was Wainright versus Dekker, and most Raptors analysts were, agreeing in unison that Ishamil Wainright, it was his spot to lose. And Sam Dekker really had to do something special against the Washington Wizards to have any sort of chance of making the roster. So Wainright, in the course of preseason, put together some, solid stats. But what I liked was he was consistent. With the 4 points per game, he had decent shooting from the field at 44% and a nice 50% shooting from three-point land. This is a guy who could play that 3-and-D, versatile 3-and-D, can guard multiple positions, and we saw from Summer League and we saw from preseason, he can knock down his shots at a pretty good clip. We return to Sam Dekker, where again, he had to go full Steph Curry against the Washington Wizards, or he was not going to make this roster because it was Wainwright's spot to lose. But guess what Sam Dekker did? He pretty much went full Steph Curry, going for 18 points on some outrageous shooting against the Wizards to will the Raptors to victory in that game alongside Malachi Flynn. It is a performance that nobody was expecting. I don't even think Sam Dekker was expecting to pull off a performance like that, because it was desperate hours for desperate Dekker, because he knew he needed, again, to go full Steph Curry to make any chance at getting a spot on the roster, because it was Wainwright's spot to lose. But maybe Ishamil Wainright didn't lose this spot. Maybe Sam Dekker just flat out won this spot with that performance. And it really does show that it possibly was just that one performance that gave Sam Dekker the spot on this team, because Nick Nurse in the post-game interview actually said, we were talking about the players and the decision about the roster, and Nick Nurse said about the game that Sam Dekker's performance basically made the decision a lot more difficult. So how did it make it a lot more difficult? Because if it was Sam Dekker's spot to begin with, then, well, it wouldn't have been a difficult decision. Sam Dekker would make the team off the back of that great performance. But because he worded it, it's going to make decisions a lot more difficult. It begs the question, was it just solely this fourth quarter performance for Sam Dekker that gave him the spot on this roster? Did Nick Nurse go into this final preseason game with the expectation like, okay, we're just going to take Ishamil Wainright? But after seeing what Sam Dekker displayed, was that the sole decision-making factor? That is something that we're never going to have the answer to, but I really want to know. Was it the one game, or was it off the back of, good practices? Was it off the back of the way he played in some other preseason games? Because looking at the stats, I mean, sure, the stats look pretty impressive for the averages that Sam Dekker displayed in preseason, but a lot of these stats are skewed from the small sample size because there was just that one outrageously good game. So I feel like in the other 4 preseason games, Sam Dekker really didn't do a lot. And in the 4th of 5 preseason games against the Rockets, Sam Dekker had 11 minutes and no points. So it must have been really this one game that pushed him over Ishamil Wainright. And it really is sad for me to see, and for a lot of Raptors fans to see Ishamil Wainright go from the team like this. Because like I said earlier, he was becoming a little bit of a fan favorite. And it's even more sad when you hear more about his story and how hard he's worked to get into the NBA after playing the 4 years at Baylor and after playing in Europe. Just listen in a little bit to this interview as he kind of breaks down talking about his journey to get here.
I've been through every emotion. Every single emotion you can think about, I've been through every emotion. I'm actually just hearing that, I get emotional now just thinking about it. Just being away from my family. I'm here, and then I'm in the States. It's tough. Sorry about that. I don't think people understand. It's tough, and literally every emotion y'all can see. I'm a happy guy, but sometimes it's tough. Yeah, I do it for my kids, to be honest. I don't want to go back over there. I'm here to stay. Everybody has a different route.
So everyone's story is different. He had to work so hard playing in Europe. He had to stay away from his kids for what was, I believe, a year to play basketball, to try to get himself in the NBA to support his children even better. It is a sad story to see somebody like that not be able to make the roster. But we also have to appreciate that there's another person in the story. That is Sam Dekker, who was also playing in Europe, who shot 45% from 3 the previous season in Turkey. So he's working hard to get back into the NBA as well. He doesn't want to be known as a guy who had one of the most embarrassing plays in NBA history. He doesn't want to be known like that. He worked hard to get back into the NBA. And the decision, it could come down to a couple of factors. The first of those factors being, we don't see practices. We only see the game. So maybe in those practice settings, the coaching staff, they saw something a little bit extra in Sam Dekker that they didn't see in Ishamil Wainright. That is something, again, that we are never going to know, but that could possibly be a factor. The second factor could be that the Raptors, we have a lot of defense. What we don't have is a lot of shooting that Sam Dekker clearly has a capability of doing. So adding another defender maybe wasn't, as necessary for the team as adding in, a 3-point sniper like Sam Dekker. And again, Sam Dekker has been working extremely hard to put himself in the position to get back into the NBA. So we have to appreciate that. It is just sad to see that Ishamil Wainright, that NBA dream that he had and how emotional he got talking about that NBA dream. It is sad to see him go from the Raptors. And because of the financial situation, like I said, remember when I talked about the guaranteed money that he has, he actually makes too much money to be sent down to the 905 directly from the Raptors. So unfortunately, he is just a free agent. But there is some good things to look at here for Wainright. There are many NBA teams who have remaining roster spots. Some of those include some, NBA contracts. Some of those include two-way contracts. And based off the way
Ishamil Wainright
played in Summer League, especially, as well as preseason, I think he has a landing spot in the NBA, especially for teams who have a lot of that, that flair, a lot of that sniping power, a lot of that scoring power. They could use a versatile defender like Ishamil Wainright, who can be that 3-and-D guy. Even if the Toronto Raptors NBA dream has kind of collapsed for him, I think there is another team who could use his services. He's just got to put his head down and get back to work, which I'm sure he is going to do. And I feel like he's got a good enough mixtape from this offseason with the Raptors that he is going to find a landing spot in the NBA. So in the end, yeah, Raptors fans, I think that we're looking at this one like it could have been a mistake. Personally, I would have taken Ishamil Wainright. He looked far more consistent in preseason, and he was very good in Summer League. Dekker didn't get that Summer League, but I can only say about what I see. Did I see the practices? No, but based on what I saw, we have a lot more of a consistent player in Wainright and a very good defender who can be the 3-and-D guy like I was mentioning earlier. Can I understand why the Raptors went with a shooter? Yeah, I can understand, and I can also understand that maybe I don't have the relevant information to make this decision, but I fear that this could have been a bit of a mistake as it comes to Ishamil Wainright. It's very unfortunate. I would have really liked him on the team, and I was fully expecting Wainright to be the one on this team over Sam Dekker, but I'm going to trust the people who made the decision because they know a lot more about this situation than I do. And based on the assessment that they've made about this, based on what they've seen about the players, they have decided that Sam Dekker is the man for this team. I'm going to respect that. I cheer for everybody who wears the Toronto Raptors uniform. I'm going to cheer for Sam Dekker. So that is the way it is, regardless of my opinion, but I also want to hear your opinion as well. Would you have taken Dekker or Wainright, or maybe would you even have cut Isaac Bonga instead, or Isaac Bonga instead? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. So that wraps up for me. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy and subscribe to Amateur Sports for 4+ videos a week, all concerning the Toronto Raptors. Get your Toronto Raptors fix as we head into the regular season. You can also check out our other channels. Amateur TV is where I do vlogs, like when I'm at Raptors games, like when I'm at Canada games. It's so fun to do those live game reactions. It produces some great videos. And also check out Amateur Clips, where we do post-game shows for every single Raptors game, plus a whole lot more fun content. We'll see you again next time for another video.